My fiancé's best friend declared his love for me just 48 hours before our wedding. Can you imagine finding out, just days before your wedding, that the man you thought was your soulmate, your best friend, actually believes you're a cheater? Not just any cheater, but that you've been having an emotional affair with his childhood best man? Because that's exactly what happened to me, and it ripped my entire world apart. I've been with Graham for 4 incredible years. Last spring, he proposed at his parents' lake house during a family barbecue. It was sweet, it was us, and honestly, I genuinely believed I was marrying my best friend. We set our wedding for late October, nothing too huge, maybe 120 guests, at this beautiful venue just outside the city with a stunning indoor garden. Graham's mom, Joyce, is completely obsessed with flowers, and I didn't care about the venue as long as I was marrying him. Now, you need to understand Graham. He's not the most open person emotionally. He processes things slowly, avoids confrontation like the plague, and tends to just shut down when things get intense. I'd always accepted this about him. I thought when he does open up, it's real. Or at least that's what I thought. Now I don't know what's real anymore. His best friend is Travis. They've known each other since they were like 7. Grew up on the same street, went to the same schools, the whole thing. Travis was even going to be the best man. And I need to be crystal clear about something, because this is going to matter. I have never had any kind of close relationship with Travis. We were friendly at group gatherings, sure. But I've probably had maybe 10 one-on-one conversations with him in 4 years. Most of those were just waiting for Graham to get ready or grabbing drinks at a party. The man was practically a stranger to me. Then, 2 Sundays ago, we had our final walkthrough at the venue. Graham couldn't make it, which was fine. I'd been handling most of the wedding planning anyway. I finished up around 4 p.m. and was driving home when I got a text from Travis. He asked if I could stop by his place to pick up something Graham had supposedly left there after the bachelor party. I should have said no. I should have told him to drop it off himself. But it was on my way, I was in a good mood, and I figured it would take 2 minutes. I pulled up to his apartment and texted him I was outside. He came down, and then this is where it gets weird. He just got into my car. I thought it was odd, but whatever. And then he started talking. He told me he's been in love with me for 3 years. My jaw just dropped. 3 years? He said he's tried to get over it, but he can't. He said watching me plan this wedding has been torture. He actually claimed Graham doesn't appreciate me the way he would. And then, the kicker, he said he needed me to know all of this before I made the biggest mistake of my life. I literally just stared at him. Like what? This is a man I've exchanged maybe 500 words with total in 4 years. And he's telling me he's in love with me? I told him he needed to get out of my car. He tried to grab my hand, and I yanked it away, telling him again, more forcefully to get out. But he kept going, saying he knew I felt something too, that he'd seen the way I looked at him, that there was a connection. I looked him dead in the eye and told him, Travis, you are delusional. I have never looked at you any type of way. I am marrying Graham in less than a week. Get out of my car. He finally got out, but before he closed the door, he said he wasn't going to give up and that I needed to really think about what I wanted. I drove straight home, shaking. I wasn't even sure if I should tell Graham. What was the point? Travis clearly had some fantasy built up, and I'd shut it down hard. But then I knew, deep down, if I didn't tell Graham, and it somehow came out later, it would look terrible. So, when Graham got home that night, I sat him down and told him everything. And this, my friends, is where my entire world started crumbling. Graham didn't react the way I expected. I thought he'd be angry at Travis, protective of me, maybe even want to confront his friend. Instead, he got really quiet. And then he asked me if I'd ever given Travis any reason to think I was interested. I blurted out, no, obviously not. What kind of question is that? He said, Travis wouldn't just make something like this up out of nowhere. He actually said, Travis is one of the most honest people I know. I'm sitting there trying to explain I barely even talked to Travis, and Graham is looking at me like I'm lying. He asked if I'd ever texted Travis. Yes, I said, sometimes when it's about you or group plans, like normal stuff. He asked if I'd ever met up with Travis alone. No, I insisted, literally never. Today was the first time, and I didn't even invite him into my car. He just got in. Graham then suggested maybe I should take some time to think about my feelings, because if Travis felt something, there must be a reason. I lost it. I yelled, "Are you seriously taking Travis's side over mine, 2 days before our wedding?" He mumbled something about not taking sides, just trying to understand how his best friend could develop feelings for his fiancé out of nowhere. Exactly, I cried, out of nowhere, because there's nothing there. I have given him nothing. Graham looked away and said, "Maybe you gave him something without realizing it." We went to bed without resolving anything, and I barely slept. The next morning, Monday, Graham left early. I spent the whole day replaying every single interaction I'd ever had with Travis, trying to figure out if I'd somehow led him on. And I came up with nothing. Nothing. The man is a ghost in my life. That evening, Graham came home, and he was different. Cold. He sat me down and said Travis had called him. Travis told Graham that we, Travis and I, had been having an emotional affair for over a year, that we texted constantly, that we'd met up multiple times, that I'd told Travis I wasn't sure about the wedding, and that I'd said hurtful things about Graham. I started literally laughing. It was so absurd. I told Graham, "Look at my phone right now. Go through every single text. I have nothing to hide." He just shook his head and said Travis already told him I deleted our conversations. Oh, that's convenient, isn't it? I shot back. He can claim anything because there's no evidence either way. Graham said, "Actually, there is evidence because Travis has screenshots." Screenshots. Travis sent Graham screenshots of text conversations between me and him where I'm apparently telling him I have feelings for him, that I think about him all the time, that I'm only marrying Graham because it's easier. They're fake. Completely fake. I have never sent those messages, but they look real. They have my contact name, timestamps. They look like actual iMessage conversations. And Graham is looking at them like he's looking at proof that I've been cheating. I grabbed his phone, stared at them, and I couldn't even process what I was seeing. Messages I never wrote. Conversations that never happened. I kept saying, "These are fake. This is fake. I didn't write any of this." But Graham just kept shaking his head. He actually asked, "Why would Travis go through the trouble of faking something like this?" I screamed, "Because he's obsessed with me and he's trying to destroy our wedding." Graham looked at me with a vacant expression and said, "Maybe we should postpone the wedding until I figure out my feelings." Postpone the wedding? 5 days before, after 4 years together, because his creepy friend made up some fake texts? I completely broke down. Not sad crying. I was screaming at him, asking him how he could believe this, how he could look at me after 4 years and think I would do something like this. He just kept saying he needed time to think, that this was a lot to process, that maybe we both needed space. I packed a bag and drove to my mom's house. I've been here ever since. Here's where it gets even worse. This morning, I woke up to texts from Graham's sister, Polly. She was asking me what was going on because Travis had called her last night. Travis has been calling people. He's telling Graham's whole family that I've been stringing him along, that I initiated everything, that he was trying to do the right thing by telling Graham before the wedding. He's painting himself as this tortured, romantic hero who's been suffering in silence while I played games with him, and people are believing him. Polly said her mom, Joyce, is devastated. That Joyce always thought I was hiding something. Hiding something? I've been nothing but open and honest with that family for 4 years. I've gone to every holiday, every birthday, every random Sunday dinner Joyce has ever invited me to. And now she thinks I'm some kind of secret cheater because Travis made up a story. I called Joyce directly. I refused to let this spin out of control through secondhand gossip. She answered and her voice was ice cold. She said she thinks I should be honest about what happened and stop making Travis look like a villain when he was clearly just trying to protect Graham. I said, Joyce, I am being honest. None of this happened. Travis is lying. She replied, then why would he have evidence? I shot back, because he faked it. She then told me that if I'm truly innocent, I shouldn't have a problem taking a polygraph test to prove it. A polygraph test. To prove to my future mother-in-law that I'm not a cheater. I hung up on her. I've been trying to reach Graham all day. He's not answering my calls. He responded to one text, just saying he needs space and he'll call me when he's ready. Ready for what? Our wedding is in 5 days. We have deposits. We have guests flying in. We have a life we built together. And here's the thing that's really eating at me. Something Polly said in her text. She said Travis mentioned to her that he and Graham had actually talked about me before. That Graham had apparently told Travis a few months ago that he was having doubts about the wedding. That he wasn't sure if I was the one. I asked Polly what she meant, and she kind of backtracked, saying maybe she misunderstood, but she definitely said it. Graham told Travis he was having doubts about me, and then suddenly Travis confesses his love and produces fake evidence that makes me look like the bad guy. I keep thinking about this. If Graham wanted out of the wedding, but didn't want to be the one to end it, what better way than to have his best friend create a situation where I'm the villain? Graham doesn't have to be the bad guy. He doesn't have to deal with the fallout of calling off a wedding. He just has to act like the hurt victim while his friend does all the dirty work. But that sounds insane, right? That's crazy person thinking. Graham wouldn't do that. He's not that calculated. Or is he? I don't even know anymore. My mom is being amazing, but she doesn't know what to do either. She keeps saying if Graham really loved me, he wouldn't believe this. And maybe it's better I found out now. But I don't want it to be better I found out now. I want my wedding. I want my life. I want the man I've loved for 4 years to look at me and believe me. Tomorrow, I'm driving back to the house. Our house. We bought it together a year ago. I'm not going to sit at my mom's and wait for Graham to decide if he believes me or not. I'm going to confront him face to face, and I'm going to make him show me exactly what Travis sent. I'm going to demand to see Travis face to face and ask him why he's doing this. I'm going to figure out what the hell is actually going on because, right now, nothing makes sense. As far as I know, Travis is still invited to the wedding. Graham's response when I asked him to uninvite Travis was that he can't just cut out his childhood best friend over a he said, she said situation. Like I'm some random woman off the street and not the person he's supposed to be marrying. If any of you have been through something like this or have any idea how to prove fake texts are fake or how to make someone see that they're being manipulated, please help me. I feel like I'm going insane. I feel like I'm watching my entire future burn down because one guy decided to blow up my life for reasons I still don't understand. And I keep coming back to the same question. Why would Travis do this? What does he actually gain? He can't possibly think I'm going to end up with him after this. Even if my wedding falls apart, I'm never going to look at him as anything other than the person who destroyed my life. So what's the point? Unless the point was never about getting me. Unless the point was just about making sure Graham didn't marry me. I don't know. I need to sleep, but I can't. I need answers, but I don't have any. I just needed to write this all down because it feels like if I don't get it out of my head, I'm going to explode. The wedding is Saturday. I have 4 days to either save my relationship or watch everything fall apart. I'll update after I talk to Graham tomorrow, if he even lets me in the house. First update, asterisk, okay. So I promise an update, and honestly, I don't even know how to start because the last 48 hours have been the most insane of my entire life. I'm still at my mom's house. The wedding is in 3 days, and I think I finally understand what's actually happening here. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Wednesday morning, I drove back to the house just like I said I would. I didn't text Graham first. I just showed up because I wasn't going to give him another chance to avoid me. It's my house too. I pay half the mortgage. I have every right to be there. When I pulled into the driveway, Graham's car was there. but so was another car I didn't recognize. I almost didn't go in because I thought maybe it was Travis, and I wasn't ready for that yet. But then I saw it was his sister Polly's car. And honestly, that just made me angrier because why is she here but not me? I walked in and they were in the kitchen. Graham and Polly, just sitting there with coffee like it was a normal morning. They both looked up when I came in, and Polly immediately started gathering her stuff, saying she should go. I told her no. She should stay since apparently she knows more about what's going on in my relationship than I do. Graham told Polly it was fine, she could leave, and she basically ran out of there. That left me and Graham alone for the first time since I left 2 days ago. And you guys, the way he looked at me, like I was a stranger, like I was someone he was dreading having to deal with for years. And that's what I got. I didn't sit down. I stood right there in the kitchen. And I told him we were going to talk about this right now because our wedding is in 3 days, and I am not going to let some delusional liar destroy everything we built. He sighed. He actually sighed at me. And then he said, maybe you should sit because there are things I need to tell you. I sat down because the way he said it made me feel like something worse was coming. And I was right. Graham started talking about Travis, about how they've been friends for over 20 years, about how Travis has always been there for him through everything, about how Travis has never lied to him, not once in all the time they've known each other. He said he's been thinking about this nonstop, and he keeps coming back to the same question. Why would Travis make something like this up? What would he gain? I said, exactly what I've been asking myself. And the answer is he's obsessed with me, or he's trying to sabotage our wedding for some reason I don't understand. Graham shook his head and said, or maybe the simplest explanation is the right one. Maybe you did lead Travis on, and now you're scrambling to cover it up because you got caught. I lost it on him. I was yelling about how I have never given Travis anything, how I barely know the man, how this is insane. Graham just sat there letting me yell, and when I finally stopped, he said something that completely threw me. He said he's seen the way I act around Travis at parties, at dinners, at group things. He said, I'm different with Travis than I am with his other friends. More animated, more engaged. He said he noticed it like a year ago, but he told himself it was nothing. But now that Travis has come forward, all those little things are adding up. I asked him what the hell he was talking about because I genuinely had no idea. He said at his birthday party in February, I spent like an hour talking to Travis on the back porch while Graham was inside with everyone else. I said, that's because Travis came outside to smoke and I went out for air and we ended up talking about random stuff. It was nothing. Graham said it didn't look like nothing to him. He said when he came out to check on me, we both stopped talking suddenly like we'd been caught. I remember that night. I remember talking to Travis about, I don't know, music or something. His band, he's in some local band that plays at bars sometimes. That's literally all it was. And when Graham came out, we didn't stop talking because we were hiding something. We stopped talking because Graham joined the conversation. That's how conversations work. But Graham has apparently been building this narrative in his head for months. Every innocent interaction I've ever had with Travis, he's reinterpreted through this lens of me being sneaky and unfaithful. And I had no idea. He never said anything, never asked me about it, just let it fester. And now, suddenly it's all coming out because Travis gave him permission to believe the worst about me. I asked Graham if he actually wanted to marry me, point blank. Because if he's had doubts for this long, if he's been watching me and looking for evidence that I'm cheating, then maybe we have bigger problems than Travis. He got really quiet and didn't answer right away, which honestly told me everything I needed to know. Finally, he said he loves me, but he's not sure that's enough anymore. He said, marriage is supposed to be built on trust, and right now he doesn't know if he can trust me. I shot back. The trust issue is on your side because you're believing your friend over your fiancé, based on screenshots that could easily be faked. He said, maybe we should postpone the wedding and figure this out with some distance. I said, we have 120 guests coming in 3 days. We have thousands of dollars in deposits. We have a future planned, and you want to postpone because Travis decided to blow up our lives. Graham said I was making this about money and logistics when it should be about us and our relationship. No, I said. You made this about Travis when you chose to believe him over me. And then I asked him the question that had been eating at me since Polly mentioned it. I asked Graham what he told Travis about having doubts about the wedding. The look on his face, like I'd caught him in something. He asked where I heard that, and I said Polly mentioned it. He tried to say she must have misunderstood, but I pushed. I said, Graham, did you tell your best friend that you weren't sure about marrying me? And he admitted it. He said yes. Back in August, he talked to Travis about feeling overwhelmed with the wedding planning and questioning if we were moving too fast. He said it was just a conversation between friends, and it didn't mean anything. I asked why he never talked to me about this. We're the ones getting married. If he was having doubts, shouldn't I be the first person he comes to? He said he didn't want to hurt me. He said he kept hoping the feelings would pass. I said, so instead of being honest, you vented to Travis and let him believe there was an opening. Graham didn't deny it. He just sat there looking pathetic. And then I asked the question that had been burning in my gut since this all started. I said, did you know Travis was going to do this? Did you tell him to do this? He said no. He said he was blindsided when Travis confessed his feelings. But then he paused and said, but when Travis showed him the texts, part of him was relieved because it meant the decision was made for him. He didn't have to be the one to call it off. He could be the victim instead of the villain. I stood up. I was done. I told him he was a coward. I said, you let your friend fabricate evidence against me. You let your family think I'm a cheater. You let half our guests cancel because they believe I'm unfaithful. All because you were too weak to have one honest conversation with me. He tried to say it wasn't like that, but I told him to shut up because that's exactly what it was like. I told him the wedding was off. Not postponed. Off. I said I wouldn't marry someone who would throw me under the bus to avoid having to make a hard decision himself. I said he and Travis could have each other because they clearly understand each other better than he ever understood me. He asked if we could maybe still talk about this, maybe work things out eventually. I told him absolutely not. I said this wasn't a rough patch we could therapy our way through. He let me be publicly humiliated. He let his mother demand I take a polygraph. He let his sister spread rumors about me, all because he couldn't say 4 words. I don't want this. I grabbed the rest of my stuff from the house. Clothes, personal items, the things that were mine before we moved in together. I told him I'd be back for the rest later with my mom or Julianne, that I didn't want to be alone with him anymore. He asked what he was supposed to tell people about the wedding. I said, tell them whatever you want. You're good at making up stories, or at least your friend is. On my way out, I saw my engagement ring on the counter. I'd left it there when I packed my bag earlier in the week. I thought about taking it, thought about throwing it at him, but I just left it there. Let him deal with it. Let him figure out what to do with the symbol of the future he was too scared to be honest about. Saturday came. What was supposed to be my wedding day? I spent it at my mom's house eating takeout and watching trash TV with her and Julianne. We didn't talk about Graham or Travis. We didn't talk about the wasted deposits or the embarrassment of having to tell everyone the wedding was off. We just sat there being together. My mom handled most of the calls. She told people there wasn't going to be a wedding, and if they wanted details they could ask Graham, because it wasn't her daughter's story to tell. Some people reached out to me directly, mostly friends who'd heard different versions and wanted to know the truth. I told them the short version. Graham's friend made up lies about me. Graham believed them. I found out Graham had wanted out for months anyway. The end. I heard through Julianne that Joyce was telling people I called off the wedding because I was caught cheating and couldn't face the shame. Let her say whatever she wants. The people who know me know the truth. Everyone else can believe whatever makes them feel better about their own choices. Travis texted me one more time on Saturday night. Something about how he was sorry it happened this way, but he still thinks this was meant to be. He said Graham was never going to make me happy, and deep down I knew that. He said he's willing to wait for me to realize it. I didn't respond. I blocked him. I should have done it days ago, but part of me wanted to keep the evidence of his delusion in case I needed it. I don't need it anymore. I just need him gone. Graham has texted a few times, too. Nothing meaningful. Just stuff like hoping I'm okay and wanting to talk when I'm ready. I haven't responded. There's nothing left to say. He showed me exactly who he is when things got hard. Someone who hides, deflects, and lets other people take the fall for his own cowardice. I'm staying at my mom's for now, while I figure out next steps with the house. We bought it together, so there's going to be financial stuff to untangle. But that's future me's problem. Present me is just focused on getting through each day without completely losing it. I'm going to be okay. It doesn't feel like it right now, but I know I will be. That's the end. No wedding, no husband, but also no more lies. I'll take it. So that's my story. It's still so surreal to say it all out loud. Have any of you ever had something like this happen? Where someone you loved completely blindsided you? Or where you had to fight so hard for your truth? I'd really love to hear your thoughts, or if you've been through anything similar, how you dealt with it. Let me know in the comments below.